Okay, good evening from London and good evening from KFA UK, Korean Friendship Association of the UK, and the British Group for the Study of the Juche idea. We're doing another of these videos, in which myself and Sara from KFA Germany are going to be deconstructing some of the nasty, lying and malicious anti-DPRK propaganda, and we're gonna basically take it apart. And this is part of our work in defending people's career with no ifs or buts. And as I say, I'm very happy to be here and to be joined by Sara from KFA Germany. Would you like to say a few words of introduction, Sara?
Hello, I'm happy to be here and to assist by showing this clip and argue about that.
Right, thank you very much. It's good to have you here. So if you'd like to roll the clip, and then we will discuss it and refute it. Right. Oh, okay. Thanks for assisting by showing that video. Unbelievably awful. So many lies in the space of just just under 3 minutes. This person, some kind of bourgeois middle class hipster, traveler type, backpacker type, who sort of goes all over the world. He's a sort of cosmopolitan character, and it's a bit hard to know where to start, with this all. I mean, saying it's the most depressing country in the world. No, it's not. Has he tried living in Britain, for example? Has he tried living in the US or any of the other capitalist countries, because they're all depressing? Does he know that in fact the country with one of the highest suicide rates in the whole world is actually South Korea, not the DPRK? I was told during the 1990s, when I visited the DPRK, that there were no cases of suicide, and when I was having a discussion with my guides, they didn't understand me when I said that a colleague of mine had had a nervous breakdown. They didn't have a concept of this. So, it is a, very vicious hostility. But I think it sort of reflects, the social origins of this character. He's from a very privileged elite background, and very hostile to the DPRK because it's a socialist country. And why, you know, it's a guided tour, you know, so what? So what? I mean, you know, this is basically courtesy by the DPRK looking after visitors. You know, if he didn't have a guide and if he got lost or knocked over or something like that, he would complain. Or, you know, if he fell down a manhole cover in the DPRK, he would try to sue the DPRK for a lot of money and blame the DPRK. I mean, I actually think it's quite good that the DPRK provide people with guides. They work very hard. You know, they're very helpful. I've got nothing but praise for all the guides I've had on my 18 visits to people's career. And yeah, it's a matter of courtesy. They look after your safety, they look after your health, and they actually make the visit far more enjoyable by explaining everything. You know, and also you know, so what if there is no Wi-Fi? You know, I think people are better off without the capitalist social media. But in fact, even that assertion is not strictly speaking true, because if you go to the DPRK, you can actually buy a Coriolink SIM card, and you can get connection to the internet, etc. From that. So even this is not a strictly is not a true statement at all. And to say, well, no Facebook, no TikTok, well, that doesn't matter. DPRK has its own social media, and when I've been to the DPRK, I found it absolutely great not to have to read WhatsApp messages, not to have to look at Facebook or Twitter. You know, I feel actually much better off without them. And you can actually also, in the hotels in the DPRK, you can get several channels on the TV, like the British Brainwashing Corporation, like CNN, like French TV, like RT and Chinese TV. And yeah, I mean, we've already covered the subject of Christianity in the earlier video, but again, this is a falsehood. You know, it's a falsehood he's portraying. There is a Catholic church in the DPRK. There's a Protestant church. There's a Russian Orthodox church in the DPRK. You know, none of this is true. And similarly, there is an Islamic mosque in the grounds of the Iranian embassy. So, you know, both of these statements are completely untrue, and a very sweeping and bland, no connection with the outside world. Well, what an idiot. What an idiot. If there was no connection with the outside world, he wouldn't have been in the DPRK. You know, stupid man. You know, he wouldn't have got there if there was no connection with the outside world. You know, that's simply not true. You know, there's plane services between the DPRK in China and DPRK in Russia. There's also rail links from Pyongyang to Beijing. I've twice travelled on the train from Pyongyang to Beijing, and there's also trains to Russia and Mongolia. I mean, it's simply not true, and the DPRK is a UN member. It belongs to several international organisations. The Workers' Party of Korea, the ruling party, has close relations with many communist and workers and leftists and anti-imperialist parties throughout the world. So, I mean, it's a complete load of baloney. You know, to use an old-fashioned British term, it's a load of codswallop. The streets are empty. Well, again, I mean, this is an old propaganda cliche against people's career that goes back donkey's years. Oh, if you go to North Korea, the streets are empty. Oh, it's terrible. It's frightening. Ooh. Well, again, not true. I've actually seen traffic jams in Pyongyang. It's not, it's not true at all. Yeah, probably there is less traffic on the roads in Pyongyang than Beijing or London or Sao Paulo, but that's probably not a bad thing. It means roads are easier to cross. And also another reason for this is the DPRK has a staggered start to the working day. People start working at different times of the day in order to avoid congestion on the roads and on public transport. So, I mean, there's reasons for this, and it's 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 very exaggerated. And oh yes, all because people cannot afford cars. Well, in people's career, you have excellent public transport. In Pyongyang, you have the famous Pyongyang Metro, which Matey in his video doesn't mention. It's well worth a visit. It's absolutely wonderful. It's better than the Moscow Metro, and it costs only the equivalent of 3 pence in British money to use. It's virtually free, they're virtually giving it away. So why would you need a car? And similarly, you've got bus, you've got trolley bus as well, and also trams, all of which are also cheap. So there isn't a need for people to have cars. So I mean, he's really trying to compare apples with pears, as it were. So I mean, this is a false and a misleading comparison. And saying TV is all about praising Korea. Well, what is wrong with that? That is patriotism. It's socialist patriotism, and it is belief in the socialist system and confidence in the socialist system. I mean, the DPRK is quite right to keep out capitalist and imperialist culture. And the festivals are all about the army. Well, again, even that is a basically very exaggerated statement. Uh, you know, the festivals aren't all about the army. Some of them are. Some of them are, but I mean, I've seen some that have been mostly civilian in nature. And it's also should be noted that when you have some of the military parades, they are actually followed by a civilian parade. So you have unity between the army and civilians. Of course, this is not to deny that the army does play an important role in people's career. You have the Sangam policy of giving priority to the army, and this is very necessary to defend the independence of people's career against US imperialism, which invaded Korea in the 1950s and which has threatened Korea many times since, and which is keeping a large number of troops stationed in South Korea ready to invade the DPRK. It's the correct thing for them to do to keep, put emphasis on the army and building up defence, and also you know, encouraging patriotism and anti-imperialism among people. No, I mean the only person fooling people is this you know, silly yuppie hipster with his lies about people's career. You know, people in the DPRK are not poor because they've got free housing, free healthcare, free education, including university education. You know, I don't know of any Western country that has free university education. It certainly costs a lot of money to send a kid to university in the UK. And, you know, also People's Career has no taxation. It has old age pensions. You can actually, a man can retire at 60 and a woman at 55. And you know, there is low cost food. Some items of food are virtually free, so there's no poverty. And I've never ever seen anyone in 18 visits of visiting People's Career. I've never had anyone ask beg for money or food. That's a fact. That is a fact. No one has ever begged. I've never seen anyone begging in People's Career. That's a fact. And perhaps you know, our hipster friend should come to London and see all the people begging or living in tents on the street. Again, I think very exaggerated. I mean, I've visited the DPRK 18 times over a long period. The last time I was in the DPRK and experienced a power cut was 2002, you know, over 20 years ago. And since then, the DPRK completed the Hudson power plant, which supplies Pyongyang in addition to the 2 power stations that Pyongyang has. So, you know, the issue of the electricity shortage is being solved. And in the UK, we've had alarmist articles in the press, in the media, that Britain will suffer power cuts. And in fact, last year, Britain narrowly avoided power cuts. We had to import electricity from France and Germany in order to make up for shortfalls in Britain. And we narrowly avoided power cuts, you know, basically thanks to France and Germany, whereas the DPRK is actually self-reliant in energy, you know. So I mean, this is nonsense. And you know, in the 1970s, Britain was hit by power cuts. It had a 3-day week even. So you know, basically, it's more nonsense. Yeah, I mean, again, open air prison. I mean, what does this mean? It's just throwaway propaganda. It's just a cliche, and yeah, DPRK is basically right to check phones, because the enemies of People's Career, the imperialists and capitalist class enemies, go to great lengths to destroy socialism and to send spies and agents into People's Career, like, dare I mention it, Ulrich Larsen, the complete scumbag and traitor, and like Otto Warmbier. You know, it sends these people into the People's Career to spy, to carry out subversion. So I mean, this is quite necessary, and you know, the character who's made this video is obviously very anti-communist, anti-socialist, anti-DPRK. So, I mean, the DPRK authorities are quite right to be suspicious of him. So, I mean, he's contradicted himself. You know, they checked, but they didn't take his videos. So what's he complaining about anyway? You know, he's just moaning and whinging. And again, oh, I cried of sadness. Well, it's emotional propaganda. You know, it's you know, melodramatic in tone, basically. I mean, so I mean, this is just a sort of very cheap hit job against people's career made by an idiotic bourgeois, overprivileged, elitist hipster. Well, I mean, he's admitting that they can't overthrow the socialist system in the DPRK, and you know, it's not a prison. It is great that it will remain as a socialist country, and it will not, you know, bow down to imperialism. So I think this is a very good thing. Yeah, well, we don't want to see you tomorrow. You know, you're just a useless bourgeois hipster. Anyway, over to you, Sarah. I believe you've got quite a few things to say about this video.
Yeah. Also, I had to laugh because he said he wanted to cry. He cried when he drove back home. So yeah, he said the DPRK is the most depressing country. Well, I assume he never went to Germany, and if he never worked here full time. And sorry, but in my opinion, after visiting the DPRK for less than a week, he already judged it as depressing. Okay, I don't understand it, but okay. He's whining about no Wi-Fi and TikTok. To be serious, he'll pay over thousands of euros to visit a foreign country, and the first thing you are whining about is no Wi-Fi and TikTok. Is he addicted to it or something? I mean, I don't need TikTok or Facebook if I have a healthy and close neighborhood who wants to go out, picnic, do stuff in the nature, etc. Going to festivals, parks, museums. I wouldn't even miss social media, which is full of nonsense, rubbish, and attention-seeking, unemployed people with no future anyways. So I'd rather go outside than missing like TikTok or Facebook when I visit another country. So, and about no connection to the outside world. To be honest, I would do anything to quit hearing all the social media rubbish and the problems other countries having, because I don't care about others, like what's happening in other countries at all. I care about me and my friends and close relatives. Why do I need to know if in China does fall a sack of rice from the table? I would be glad not to hear all this fake news and gossip and attention-seeking behavior from bloggers or politicians or influencers in the TV or media. Is a waste of time anyways. I rather do my hobbies or travel or do sports and go outside instead. The TV and the media is all about praising Korea, is what he said. About Korea and the leaders and the military. Yeah, he should read more about the Songun politics and the founding of the DPRK and the reason why they are praising the country so much and the leaders so much. Then he would understand it. But if you just assume things without even put a little effort into researching things, it's not a surprise that he's uneducated. Our Western media is full of rubbish, fake news, sexism, nonsense, a lot of annoying advertising and decadent movies and series where women and people in general are shown in stereotypical ways. movies and series who are a waste of time, which are a waste of time and full of immorality and disgusting subjects. So now about the military should be praised, because I don't think this hipster, would be the one fighting for his rights or for a life if a hostile country would attack his country. That's why soldiers are there and risking their lives for average civilians like him. Again, if he would read more about the founding of the DPRK, he would know why they praise the military so much. He assumed the DPRK being poor just because they don't live decadent and wasteful lives like we do in the West anyway. And about the electricity, still now, today, the water in South Italy will be cut a few times per day. I'm Italian and my family confirmed it, that still the water will vanish a few times per day. Most civilians don't even know why. And about electricity, it can happen to everyone. As you already said, that also in the UK it happens a lot, and also we in Germany had it a lot, like in the past. And it's nothing so what important institutions like hospitals, police office have an emergency generator, so no civilian would die if the electricity will disappear for a short of time. It is ridiculous what he said about the soldiers checking his phone. I assume that they are doing it to avoid pornography or selling drugs or doing inappropriate photographs or even acts of violence maybe, or as you already said, because of spies and traitors. So I would not have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with that, checking my phone, because if you have nothing to hide, you would have nothing against it. And that he's crying about the DPRK people, but sorry, but he was there like a few days, and it's another culture, and he comes from the Western world, like we, like I don't know where he comes from, but I guess he's American or like or European, and he should rather cry about all the children in his own country being abused by pedos, or also women being harassed and treated like sex objects instead, or the workers being enslaved to work full-time per day and still having difficulties in surviving and still less money. He should like think about his country first before he assuming things after a visit of 3 days in an other country. He visited the DPRK for a few days. He should rather concern about his own problems or fight against the problems in his own country, instead of whining and spreading gossip and fake news about a socialism, independent and proud country like the DPRK. Yeah, that was all I could say. I want to say about him, because it's ridiculous what he talked there, because it's full of fake news. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for those remarks. Being very, very good and been very useful. So today we've exposed and deconstructed, yet another anti-DPRK video. The way to support people's career and defend it with no ifs or buts is by joining the Korean Friendship Association and becoming active in it, both, and I say, we've got branches all over the world, including in the UK and Germany, which are represented in this video. So anyway, it's been great speaking to you today, Sara. And have a good evening, and we'll be back again for another video in maybe in a few weeks, and maybe we might change the format a bit, but we will be back. And thank you for your comments tonight, Sara. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.